You're on cruise control. Don't wanna think of all the rules that you can pick and choose. I wanna make you feel like
enough of this nonsense. Of this nonsense.
What is up, Level Up Nation, and welcome to the January 7th edition of LvLUp Live, your home for gaming esports news, brought to you by OTN Media. My name is Fiasco. You can call me John. We're all friends. Or at least I think we're friends here, Joe. I think we're friends with everyone here. And that dude, the stud, the man, the myth, the legend, to my screen left, technically north of my current location IRL. That's the king of the courtside. You can call him Joey. What's poppin', buddy?
Things are all right, John. Yesterday was a little bit crazy with everything happening in DC, but things have mellowed down a little bit today, at least to my knowledge. So I'm glad that things are starting to normalize a little bit here.
Normalize in DC?
I know. It never quite gets there, does it?
It never gets normal. Esports and gaming. Esports and gaming, Joey. That's all we're going to stick to today. Nation, there's a thing called social media. Our accounts are still active, which means you should be following them. And of course, you should be following the show. You can follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Again, our accounts are still active. That's at LvLUp Live, at LvLUp Live. And while you're on Twitter, Joey's got some spicy takes on gaming, on esports. He's got all those Jacob Wolf-like connections. So make sure you follow him on Twitter at Courtside King. And then for the witty comebacks, remarks, and sarcastic takes, you're going to want to follow me. My name's Fiasco on Twitter as well. Look at that. So, Nation, make sure you are following the show and your favorite host as well. And Nation, of course, if you can't watch us live here on Twitch, there's some really other cool ways you can interact with the show. And of course, we're talking about the podcast version. The LvLUp Podcast is available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And since you're listening to the podcast version, you should probably leave us a review. It does go a long way in helping give us feedback that we enjoy, whether it's positive, negative, constructive, or those are the only thing we're going to take. Yeah, and it also helps grow the audience as well. So we do appreciate you taking a moment out of your day to leave us a really awesome review. Okay, Joey. Intro's almost out of the way. I just need you to give me a quick summary. What in the world are we talking about today on January 7th of 2021?
Guys, we spent a lot of time on Monday's episode talking about games, diving into like 2020 a little bit toward the end of, or the tail end of 2020, and then previewing 2021. Some of our assumptions of what we might see this year, maybe some surprises, maybe a couple other delays. So we dove into that. This week, we're diving a little bit more into gaming as well, but also into quite a few big acquisitions.
All right. So we got some spicy topics on today, the Thursday edition of LvLUp Live. But Joey, I don't even want to touch on those topics yet. I want to touch on them, but just not yet. Because we haven't talked about the most important part of this entire show. This is what brings everyone to the show. And, you know, we have to do it. And of course, it's the drink of choice, Joey. So your beverage for this, the second show of the non-refundable year of 2021.
The non-refundable year. Well, I'm going with beer for today's episode. Going with a Breezy Frog. This one's from Aslan Beer Company as well. It's pretty much everything I drink lately. Sour double Indian pale ale. It's going to have a little bit of cranberry, pineapple, coconut, and vanilla mixed in.
Are you sponsored by them? Like, are you not?
I am a huge fan, though. I would love to be sponsored by them. But yeah, I mean, if it's not bourbon, this is typically my next go-to for alcohol for the show.
Joey, I've gone back to my one true love. It's the only thing that loves me back. It's a classic gin and tonic. You know what? It's been an interesting week. We'll just leave it there. Gin and tonic on tap. Joey with his not sponsored beer plug as always. Joey, we have our beverages. We have our topics. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right into gaming and esports news. Let's go.
Absolutely excited to dive in. Also excited to see T-Spans over there in chat. T-Spans, I think one of these topics you might have a bit more insight on than I do coming down a little bit later down the line. To kick things off, though, GameSquare Esports has entered into an agreement to acquire Canadian esport org Reciprocity. This is a decent move overall. Reciprocity is not a Cloud9. It's not a G2. It's not a Fnatic. It's not one of those big name brands, but it is a brand that's been in a bunch of different scenes out there. Crossfire they're in. I believe they have a share in a League of Legends team in Latin America or Brazil. They're in a few other scenes. I think Halo and Gears of War as well. So again, not one of those top tier esports, but one of those teams and organizations that's continued to grow, continue to enter into different scenes. I think this is a good move overall. I mean, GameSquare is someone who's continued to invest more and more into esports, now picking it up an org like Reciprocity. Again, not that top tier team already, so you're not paying an arm and a leg, but you're able to come in, pick up a mid-tier team that's in a number of different scenes, continue to invest in them and continue to build them up overall. So I think this is going to be a good move by GameSquare. I'm curious to see how much they paid overall. I believe I want to say I read like something around $11 to $12 million. So a decent size investment. Again, this is about your mid-tier level esports org. So they're putting out a chunk of cash, but they already have their roots in a number of different scenes. So it's going to be a little bit easier to develop them moving forward.
Yeah, and this is really what you want to see from a mid-tier esports organization that's really still trying to develop their foothold, develop their presence in the esport world. Over the last 2 years, they've been making great increases just in their turnover margins, $2 to $3 million back-to-back years in 18 and 19. Numbers for 2020 not out yet, but that's definitely the step in the right direction you want to see your mid-tier organizations make. Bringing in that money shows that stability, and then they're able to make investments like this going forward. So it's smart. It's a good move. You take your time. You don't just jump in. You don't go in and pull out a bunch of money from a bank with a massive loan with high interest and try to go all in like we've seen some other organizations, and they have to scale back incredibly quick. I think it's a very smart move what GameSquare is doing here, and kudos to them for now expanding their portfolio.
Absolutely. And I don't know too much about as far as if Reciprocity is going to end up doing any kind of rebranding, if they'll be playing under a different name now, or if it will stay with that Reciprocity brand. So we'll have to dive a little bit more into that as more news comes out. The full deal will be finalized in March of 2021. Over to League of Legends in the LCK, the Korean scene over there. Team Griffin, they've been up and down, John. Team Griffin is a team that has finished toward the top of the table. They're a team that's dropped down toward the bottom of the table. They've fought with relegation here and there. They've taken G2 down in groups at Worlds before. Then they had some controversy. CV Max had some coaching issues here and there with the way he was treating players, overworking some of the players almost to an abusive level. So some back and forth here between different issues as well as successes versus failures. In the end, Team Griffin has decided to disband and will be breaking up their League of Legends team.
Yeah, it's tough. The current economic situation around the globe, along with the pandemic, probably had some kind of factor into this as well. But it's tough. Esports is still a very volatile environment. While yes, there is more stability, it feels like every year we see esports gain more and more stability. It's still pretty early in the life of modern esports where it's become socially accepted in modern society. And even in Korea, where esports is generally more accepted than we see here in the Western Hemisphere, it's still a victim of modern day culture and society when it comes to finances and the global economy and everything too. So again, not saying that was a reason behind it, but it probably did play a factor. But it is sad to see Griffin disband. They had potential, like you said, Joey. They took down T1 multiple times, or at least one time. They showed promise. They showed that growth, that strength, but unfortunately, Griffin now bows out.
Yeah, I think between the current economic climate, the inconsistencies that the team had going from being a top tier team to a bottom tier and then flexing to the middle here and there, they just didn't really show consistency even with similar rosters. I think that was a big factor. And then on top of that, all the controversies around the coaching situation with CV Max, I think probably just pushed it to the limit going back and forth with those allegations. In the end, unfortunately, instead of trying to drive their way through it, they decided to disband. So they will be breaking up. I don't exactly know how that LCK spot is going out, if that's being replaced. Or exactly how that's going to work. Maybe that's already been negotiated, but we'll keep an eye on that one as well. Over to partnerships and investments. NA's League Championship Series, known as the LCS for short, has rebranded, keeping the LCS name and moniker, but it's going to have a new logo, color scheme, talent on air, and more. John, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and pull up their logo for us. Maybe like their Twitter page would be fine. You guys can take a quick look at it. It's stylized. It's a little bit like a diagonal diamond style of LCS. Some people have compared it to the CLG logo. There's a number of other logo comparisons going over there. Personally, John, I don't think it's the greatest logo. I also don't have any kind of issues with it. I think one of its biggest strengths is the simplicity of it. The fact that you're getting the letters, you're kind of getting a nice shape out of it with the diamond, and it's super simple and easy to copy onto apparel and different things like that. One of the other big strengths that I see of it is the idea of a moving logo. A lot of the logos we see in media today have the ability to move and kind of be formed together and break apart pretty easily. I think this logo accomplishes that pretty well as well.
Now, they put out a really good video about it. I'm just trying to find where they put it because I see the announcement video with all the casters. But there was a hype video they put out that I thought was very good. Let me see here. That is their format video. We're doing it live. Up there it is. It's pinned to the top because, you know, I should probably.
That's the last place you would check, huh?
Because it's the last place I would check. Let me go ahead and switch that. I should probably change the stinger so it doesn't do this 8-second OTN Media clip, which it does look pretty cool, Joey, if I have to say so myself. Let me go ahead and just make that change real quick. Okay, cool. So here's the hype video. It's a little over a minute long, but it's nonetheless it's pretty sweet. Give you a little insight into
So are you
what the
excited for LCS?
It is an end of an era.
So many of those that kind of had an iconic hold within the scene are gone.
The Age of Gods has ended.
Copy that. I've given him the note to be more casual.
What's that mean? Do you think you can save LCS?
Yeah, it. I'll save LCS.
It's time for a new LCS.
Tactical, FBI, Spica. These rookies are hungry for success.
People say he might be the next great.
I'm not really worried about anyone else. I don't really think about them that much.
Tactical is doing everything.
I want people to fear me. Definitely coming for the trophy.
Are there any other junglers in the LCS that are going to be better than you?
No. 2021 is going to be about domination.
This isn't just a new year, it's a new game.
This is your new LCS.
This year, they're coming for blood.
Now I'm just going to pause it here and leave this up just for a reference. So this is the new LCS logo. Why? I don't know. So it feels like the LCS has to rebrand every 2 years because like nothing works. You know, Joey, you and I bantered on Twitter about this. In all honesty, when it comes down to the best logo, the best broadcast production, the best in-stream, in-broadcast content, the LEC is almost second to none. The LCK does a very good job as well. But really the LEC, you know, obviously if a minimalistic approach is not something you're into, you may not like it as much, but just their ability to use the colors they picked, their logo, how everything works and just flows with their broadcast, I think it looks great. Their in-game broadcast, incorporating that into their overlay on the Rift looks great. The LCS feels like they've always been like 2 years behind the LEC. So this is the LCS trying to play catch up. Now, it's hard to make a judgment without seeing how the broadcast is going to look. So from a very surface level reaction, I think it's trash. I don't like it. It's LCS in a diamond or a flame or whatever imaginary object you want to make it out to be. It's literally the letters LCS. Some people think it's creative and cute. I think it's a very lame excuse for a logo. It's very basic. It's very surface level. I prefer some of their older logos. Even going back to when it was the NA LCS and we had the EU LCS. You know, even the rebrand of the LCK went more minimalistic, but they still at least kept their identity with a minimalistic, almost clip art version of an eagle. This is just like, I'm cool with the colors. I think purple is a very awesome color to use in esports. You can team it up with a lot of different other colors, like your blues, your greens, even your pinks, and it comes out incredibly well. But to me, and I get it, Joey, this logo may be designed for motion, and that is something we do have to take into account here. But overall, from a static image like it's been presented, I think it's lame. I think it's very NA.
Okay, I will say I'm not like the biggest fan of it. I would probably give it like a 7 out of 10, maybe 6.5. But
Lower.
Comparing it to the old logos, John, I have to disagree. I think the old logos were probably the most trash logos I've ever seen in all of esports. I think they were terrible, just like a lot of the play in NA was.
Ouch.
It was just super ugly, not very fun. It almost looked like a clown fiesta. And it just looked like it was trying a little bit too much to be sports. It's like, hey, the NFL, the NBA, all this, let's just try to copy them the best we can, copy their homework, change a couple things. Here we go. We get a nice little shield. We get a nice little NA, bada bing, bada boom. Here we are. I thought it was terrible looking. I thought it was bland. This at least, again, not my favorite logo, but it brings excitement. It brings that ability to use it in motion graphics. It brings that relatability of being something simple. It has LCS. It has a simple shape, similar to what we see with the LEC. They're running a crown. It doesn't spell out LEC, but they have a very simple logo. South Korea with LCK, with the eagle. Again, I think that's the way a lot of these leagues are going to move. And I think, at least for me, it almost has more of an esports appeal to it. Instead of having those crazy shield logos like an NFL or like an NBA where you have the little column, a lot of that is great, but it yells sports to me. With something like this, it's simple, it's relatable. Again, not the prettiest thing ever made, but I think it's something that will at least bring fans in, and it looks new, it looks exciting. It's something that's not just a shield with lettering on it.
Compare it to the LEC. I have it up on screen.
I mean,
right
LEC
now.
is the top of the top, though.
Of
That's
course.
like the cherry on top of everything.
But the problem is if we're gonna water everything down to NA versus EU, which I think is completely justified.
I don't think NA stands a chance against the EU in any contest at this point.
I agree. I firmly agree, because it feels like everything LCS does is just a very, very watered down, diluted version of LEC, and they just can't do it as well. When LEC had their rebrand and they started gameplay like a week or two before the LCS, I think it was like last year or the year prior to that. Everyone here in North America, we're waking up at 10 a.m. on a weekend. That's early for some people, to catch the LEC. And we're sitting here watching the broadcast. We're like, yo, this is hype. This looks great. I can't wait to see what the LCS does. And the LCS couldn't even get champ select right. It was just awful. And it just feels like everything the LCS does is bad. And then they rebrand. Okay, cool. I give it to them. They rebrand it. It looks great. They're trying to go with the same kind of like bright, vibrant colors that the LEC is going with their kind of purple, pink, and orange. They're more warm color grade, if you will. LCS seems to be going more on the cool variant. But just in comparison with the logo, I don't know. I learned this from George Mason University. I think it is very basic if you just use letters in a logo. A logo should be an image that represents an overall brand, not just letters thrown together in a stylized version. There are some exceptions to it, but I just feel like it could have been better, and it should have been better. And if you're going to spend that much money to rebrand, you should go for something that's not, in my opinion, a 4.5 out of 10. That's just my opinion.
Wow, that low.
Yeah, I honestly think it's that bad.
But you still rate the shield higher. You rate their old logo higher. That to me loses a little bit of that respectability. I don't know if I can take that at that level.
The shield had more character though. Like if you're like here, I'm gonna pull this up. I think it did. I firmly believe it did.
Everyone had the same shield.
Hold on, so let me pull it up here. Are we talking about NA LCS, or are we talking about last year's just LCS with a mini shield?
I was talking NA LCS. Are you talking just a little mini shield?
No, I think the mini shield was just a terrible decision.
Okay, yeah.
Also,
yeah, I don't think that was good.
So here, we'll go back here. Turn this on. Okay, look, I mean, call me weird, but like, I think this is a very solid logo, right? Because here's something that this logo does. One, it tells you it's a League of Legends esport title. So it tells you up front what it is. So again, a lot of times when you're marketing, when you're doing a branding of some sort, you have to almost water it down to the lowest common denominator. Okay. So this tells you you're watching League of Legends. It has an aggressive look to it. Okay. So you have a shield. People automatically think shield. They think, like Gladiator, Warrior, attack, defense. It has that aggressive nature to it that you look at and you go, okay, North America. Okay, cool. If I'm from North America, now I'm hyped. I see it's North America League of Legends Championship Series with the ribbon going across. It almost has like, we'll water it down to like to a medieval feel. So you have a shield with a ribbon going across. This logo, for me, it checks off all the boxes. It may be a little wordy here and there. I can understand that. So you may have a secondary logo. But when you water it down to just LCS and you stylize it in a diamond or a flame or whatever you want to call it, and you just put, championship, it just feels. I respect minimalism. I really do when it comes to logos, but that just feels like it's just way too watered down.
Okay, before I just smash that, just give me 1 second to clarify here. So this is taking other external factors into play here. It's not purely based on logo. But the one thing to keep in mind here is every year since the people have changed their shield logo, so LEC, any of these other smaller regions as well, as almost everyone went with a similar shield logo at the beginning. Every single one of them has seen a giant growth in viewership numbers since switching away from that shield logo. Now, again, this could simply be, it just happened with the times. They did other marketing schemes. Their league was growing over time, and they ended up with a great growth year every single year. It just happened to fall in the year they went away from the shield. It's very possible, but I think that is one thing to look at, like finding newer, fresher brands. The shield doesn't quite stand out as much in today's day and age with younger audiences. And I think, yes, it's respectable. Yes, it tells you exactly what you're playing. It has your region on it. It's a clean logo for the most part. I would argue it's a bit wordy, like you mentioned at the end there. But overall, I just don't think it stands out in today's day and age. Now, will the LCS stand out? I honestly don't know. I agree. I don't think words simply as a logo always work in many cases. I think it's worked in a number of cases. One of the most well-known ones out there is ESPN, who simply uses stylized letters. But there are a number of other people who use like a simpler image that works quite well overall. So I think it's back and forth on if that's going to work. I think if they're going to do it right, they're going to have to do something with motion graphics and come with some kind of cool slide transition with it. And I think they got to shape up the diamond part. What does the diamond mean? Is that diamond the crystal that we see in the Nexus? Now we're talking a little bit if we can relate it to League of Legends in that sense. Or is it something to do with an inhibitor? How does that diamond shape come into play here? Why did they choose a diamond shape? And I think if they can expand on that a bit more and give us a little bit more, not necessarily lore to it, but depth to it, I think that helps build it out a little bit. Again, still not my favorite logo in any sense, but I do like it better than the shield. And I think it is a good move to look toward a more modern logo.
Cool. So everyone in North America, we're happy with the Microsoft Paint logo of the LCS. Interlocked, of course.
I could care less what the logo looks like if the on-air production is better. I just feel like it was very far behind a number of other regions this past year. Again, I think the casters were great. I think the on-air talent was great. It just doesn't feel like the production and the slides and the transitions and all of that is quite on the level of some of these other leagues so far. Agreed,
which is why I opened it up with the fact that, you can't really make a judgment until we see how it looks on the broadcast. But from a static version of it, not the best.
Not the best. But you know what is the best, John? And it's almost taking it to another level, maybe the next level, in fact. Nintendo has acquired Next Level Games. NLG has been working with Nintendo for quite a while now, John. It's been about a decade, exclusively since 2011 as well. So they started off working on Super Mario Strikers in 2005. I freaking love that game, by the way. On the Wii, the little goalkeeping, pointing the Wiimote, the shaking of the nunchuck. I think it was a great soccer game. I'd love to see it come back. But then their most recent title, Luigi's Mansion 3, has also popped off. It has sold over 8 million copies so far. And I believe that number was taken before Christmas numbers came in as well. So it's very well likely over 10 million at this point too. Recently, the owners of NLG Next Level Games were looking to sell some of their shares. They're looking to possibly move out of the business or at least cut down their worth into it. And Nintendo decided to say, hey, we've been working together for over a decade now. We like the work you do. You've worked with our IP before. You know Mario, you know Luigi, you know how to work with these characters. We're just going to bring you on board, and they've decided to fully acquire them. So Next Level Games going over to Nintendo. And John, to me, this reminds me a lot of Sony and Insomniac. Again, it's one of those deals that doesn't really surprise a ton of people because they've been working together almost exclusively for so long. The exclusivity in this deal being almost 9 years at this point. So I think this is a great move, and I think it's a good pickup by Nintendo.
Yeah, I think it's smart. It's almost like it's rewarding NLG for their loyalty. I mean, I know it sounds kind of weird, if It's like, oh, well, your company's getting acquired. Well, chances are if you have that relationship, it's going to be a seamless integration. It's just literally going to be someone coming over and slapping a new LCS logo. I'm sorry, a new logo on the front of your building and just, kind of just changing it. And then you just continue to do what you do. And now you just report to a different boss. That's one of the great things. Now you have the backing of Nintendo. You have Nintendo's funding. So there's so many good things that come with being acquired by a major organization like a Nintendo. But having that relationship really can't be understated. That's absolutely massive for this merger because of that familiarity with not just the structure of how Nintendo operates and what they expect, but because it's not a surface level acquisition. It's not, okay, cool, we're going to bring you in. This is what we expect. And if you don't like it, you're gone kind of thing. It's like they already know what they're getting themselves into and they're going to be rewarded because now they're under the Nintendo brand and they're going to be able to use the power of Nintendo to really do what they want to do going forward.
Absolutely. So we'll be excited to see what other games and potentially if Nintendo decides to expand that studio as well, now that they're under that umbrella, that could be something else we see later on. And I'm hoping we eventually get a Mario Strikers sequel because I would love to see another version of that come to something like the Nintendo Switch. I don't know if T-Spans is still in here, but this next one I'd love his insight on. Epic Games has acquired Rad Game Tools, Bink Video, and more, and plans to integrate the technology into Unreal Engine. I honestly don't know too much about these tools, but I can tell you some facts about them. There is one of these Rad game development tools in almost every single game made to date. They've appeared in something like 25,000 plus games so far. So they have been around for quite a while. They've done a bunch of stuff. Bink 2 is the one in particular mentioned in the article, the perfect video codec for games. Easy to use, self-contained, simple, crazy fast. It has HDR support built in and much more. They also have Oodle here, telemetry, Granny 3D, Miles sound system, and more. So again, guys, Rad Game Tools being picked up by Epic. Overall, we've seen Epic make a lot of different investments lately, outside of investing into Fortnite over and over, which has paid off as a huge investment for them. We've also seen them go into stuff like picking up Psyonix and Rocket League and trying to integrate that a bit more into their system. We've seen them go out and make deals with other publishers and developers. Sony bought a share for like 1.5% of Epic Games stock as well. So we continue to see more and more people look at Epic Games, and now the biggest thing that people use being the Unreal Engine under their umbrella, Epic continuing to invest in that, in a sense, I think you can compare it a little bit to Microsoft and Windows. Obviously, Windows is a much bigger software. It's used much more utilized worldwide. But when you look at Epic Games and game development, it's a very similar environment because so many different people you run on Unreal Engine. It's one of the most popular engines out there by far. It does extremely well. A lot of users are used to working in it when it comes to that game development technology. So I think Epic continuing to invest in that, almost like Microsoft with Windows, is a really, really strong move as a spine.
Yeah, and Bing 2, like you said, Joey, it's pretty much everywhere. In fact, it is everywhere. Windows uses it, Mac OS, Linux, PlayStation 4, 3, 4, and 5, PS Vista, Xbox One, Xbox 360, Wii U, Nintendo Switch, Android, and iOS operating systems all have used Bink 2. So it's a massive acquirement for Epic, and it's faster, higher resolution. I think you already hit on all that kind of stuff for the Bink videos and everything. But it's so smart. It's so smart. You pair it up with the Unreal Engine, you pair it up with game development. It's really a complete bundle package now. It's a really, really interesting development for Epic Games going forward when it comes to developing.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a great investment to see how they put that back into Unreal Engine with the launch of Unreal Engine 5 coming up pretty soon. I believe it's like spring 2021, so just a couple months away. And we'll see how developers start utilizing that new engine as well. Juked has raised $1.07 million from 2,500 investors in a crowd equity campaign. It plans to use that money to grow its staff and hopes to accelerate growth on its web product, apps, and original content offering. For those of you who haven't used Juked, it's pretty much like a, let's say, a central hub between streaming platforms. So we have tons of different esport leagues out there, tons of different streaming platforms, whether it be Twitch, YouTube. You look over in Asia, you have stuff like Azubu being used. So this is one platform that brings all of that together. And it says, hey, you want to watch the top Call of Duty League content playing right now? These are all the streams that are available. These are who are playing in the matches. Go ahead and pick one. So that's one of the cool things that Juke does. It kind of brings everything together so you don't have to guess, like, where is that ESL match? Is it on Twitch? Is it on YouTube? Is it on some other kind of platform being streamed somewhere? Now you kind of have everything centralized. It's not the only one out there, though. PopDog is another one, as well as Microsoft launched one called MSN Esports as well. So there are a number of other platforms out there, Juked being one of the first and one of the most prominent, though, depending what Microsoft decides to do with theirs. We could see them pour more money into it because theirs does have a bit of a more of, let's say, a streamer edge to it. It doesn't necessarily only focus on esport leagues. The Microsoft one also dives into streamers. So if you're an up-and-coming jungler, let's say in League of Legends, and you just want to watch jungler streams, they have a technology that picks out who's actually playing jungle champions and different things like that. So it's a little bit more advanced in streamer tech versus Juke that's pretty heavily based in esports and trying to get you all the esports content in one place. Have you used Juke, John, actually?
I actually have not used Juke. I've been meaning to check it out, but the concept of it is really cool. And it's something that I think a lot of people that want to better their gaming or their play style or even learn a new position could really benefit from Juke.
Oh, you're still there. Sorry, you're lagging a little bit on my end, so if I pause, that is why. Outside of Juked, I think it's going to be interesting to see how much they expand and how big it's going to end up being. But for now, we do know the valuation of Roblox. We went back and forth on it a couple months ago. Guys, this is a big one. This is, I think they were originally looking for something like $8 billion as a valuation. Roblox has now raised $520 million in funding. And on top of the funding from the last couple months, they are now valued at $29.5 billion. Much, much higher than John and I estimated them being available out really for the stock market, much higher than a lot of investors expected as well. So we are talking a very, very big chunk of money here coming in. $29.5 billion is their new value. Roblox, for those not knowing too much about their player numbers, 31 million players log on per day to Roblox. And on top of that, users average about 2.5 hours of play when they do log in. So pretty cool information there. But yeah, John, this is a lot higher than I expected.
Yeah, it's really kind of mind-blowing that Roblox is, valued at almost 30 billion. That's billion with a B. Dollars. I mean, it's a very simple game. It's almost like N64 style graphics. That might be an insult to N64 graphics, actually. But the fact that it's like a sandbox style-esque kind of game, it does its job. It provides this entertainment and learning environment for the people that play Roblox. Again, Roblox mainly played by the younger generation. Yeah, there are some teens and early aged adults in their 20s, maybe people older. I don't know. I think I dabbled in Roblox once with some members of OTN on our Discord, and it was a very awkward experience, but it's a very unique game, and I can see the benefit, and I can see how for younger generations and just the younger gamer out there trying to learn and work on those fine motor skills like hand-eye coordination and figuring out how to use a controller or a mouse and keyboard when you play Roblox. It's a very good and forgiving game for new gamers to kind of learn those skills and hone in before they jump into like a PlayStation 5, an Xbox Series X, 4X, 1X, 1 Series X, or PC. So I think it does its job. It's right up there with Minecraft, but yeah, 30 billion or 29.5 billion, if you will, is just, I would have never guessed that in my life.
Yeah, I mean, they're making almost $1 billion per million players. It's absolutely insane overall. So they are killing it with them valuation. Again, 31 million players logging on per day. T-Spans is back in chat, and he makes a great point. It's almost not like a game, but more like a platform. I think it's comparable to what we see with Minecraft as well. Just the ability for users to really dive in and fully cooperate with creativity as well. Because you see, like in Minecraft and Roblox, there's so many user-created games. It's not purely jumping into something like a Call of Duty that is your team deathmatch, your domination, your headquarters. There's so much more than that. It's whatever T-Spans or whoever puts their mind to create, and then from there makes it into a public lobby. You've seen complete companies run off of stuff being built in Minecraft and Roblox, and I think that's where a lot of this valuation comes from. I don't know the valuation of Minecraft off the top of my head, but I think Microsoft paid like $2 billion for Minecraft. I can guarantee that is a freaking huge investment for them. I guarantee it is so much more than that at this point. So we'll have to look that one up as well, John, if you wouldn't mind. But I think Minecraft and Roblox just bring that ability to unleash the creativity. They can be used in education really well. We saw that with Minecraft earlier this year with virtual programming. You continue to see people find creative ways to integrate new game modes, to come up with new game designs. I've seen complete maps designed in Minecraft where people come up with the ability to design maps for other games and then come up with them in Minecraft. It's really cool to see the ways people come together, whether it's the survival mode versus the creative mode, whether it's using it as a social platform in general. I think both these games, and now Roblox is absolutely blowing out our valuation out of the water, now rated at $29.5 billion. Okay, sir, what's Minecraft's valuation? Do you have it by chance?
I am looking here.
I'm really curious.
Minecraft valuation. Let's see here. Acquired by Microsoft in 2014 for $2.5 billion. Let's see here.
Yeah, I don't know what it's probably gonna be harder to find because it's part of Microsoft now.
Yeah, the big thing that keeps popping up is the $2.5 billion acquisition with Microsoft.
Yeah, we'll have to do some more research on that one, guys. I would not be surprised if it's close to this $30 billion mark at this point either, though. Both just continue to bring in players. Minecraft is like the most played game in the world. It and Roblox both up there in the top 5. So I think it's one of those things where, again, you're going to continue to see a lot of development into these platforms as kids, especially younger kids, dive into gaming with games like this. And then eventually, as people get older, they still stick with these games because of the creative outlets that they become as well. Anything else you want to say on Roblox before we jump into some other news?
People sticking with Roblox. Can you imagine a senior citizen home where everyone's playing Roblox still?
Like that would be popping, I'm sure.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, Roblox super popular, Minecraft super popular, League of Legends still insanely popular as well, but both these two, as more than games but purely platforms, are absolutely killing it.
Okay, I literally just got this image in my head of a senior citizen home, people playing League of Legends, and someone getting absolutely wrecked, and like some old grandpa being like, "Suck it, noob!" Like I just, I don't know why. I just wanted to share that with.
Yeah, I think I see a senior citizen's home playing Roblox much easier than League of Legends.
No, you got to stay young. You got to, geriatrics League of Legends league like that. That is going to be spicy. Like, you want to talk about Clown Fiesta? They can't even get to level 5 first in game.
Oh my gosh, you want to talk about carpal tunnel? Yeah, it would be quite the experience seeing that. But jumping over to other news, making a little bit of a transition from Roblox, League of Legends, and senior homes, we're going to dive a bit into Outriders. It's a title expected to come out in February, or at least it was expected to come out in February. It has since been delayed just a little while, not too long, about a month to a month and a half. A free demo will be made available in February, though. February 25th, they're going to end up dropping a free demo on all platforms that the game will be available. You can dive in. I think you get to play, I want to say it was like 2.5 hours of the story to kind of get a feel for the game, decide if you actually want to spend your money buying it. It's supposed to be a big game. I think someone recently in Discord, I think it was Darsky, telling us it's supposed to be something like 40 to 50 hours worth of gameplay. So it's going to be a very deep game. It's going to be similar, in my opinion, to something like Remnant from the Ashes, that similar 3-player co-op style of PvE, maybe mixed in a bit with Destiny as well. I might just be saying Destiny because it takes place in space, but it is one of those games that a lot of people have hyped up for me within the industry. A lot of people talking that it will be a very big game for 2020. So again, guys, if you're interested in that, it has been delayed. Demo on February 25th with the full launch coming slightly later on April 1st. No, that is not a joke. It will be dropping on April 1st, probably with some jokes here and there. But John, I am excited for this one. I don't really know what to expect. I don't know if I'm going to dive out and get it just yet. So I am glad there is a demo coming out prior to the launch.
Yeah. Hopefully the demo gives you enough content to really kind of to make you want to get it. That's the great part about demos is they give you just enough that you can experience the gameplay, experience the mechanic, experience a little bit of the story, and then throw you on a cliffhanger to make you want to buy the game. I think it's great. I will definitely check out the free demo as well. And if it's up my alley, then April 1st, it might be an April Fool's joke. I don't know. I might buy it. I might not. We'll find out.
Guys, Discord is freaking out tonight, John.
It's so bad. Like you like did a frozen dab. It was pretty impressive.
Oh my gosh, you sounded like you were just slurring your words like crazy. Oh,
You know,
I might try the demo out and see. Oh yeah, I'm dying. Whew, that was too good. Thank you, Discord, for this great experience. Rogue Company, they have announced that they're adding 2 new game modes, or at least they're testing 2 new game modes. One of those being Wingman, the other being Countdown. Wingman's going to have 2 different styles. It's going to have Standard and Wingman Strikeout. In Standard, each team has 1 life in 45-second rounds to a best-of-9 series. If neither team is eliminated within the given time, an objective will spawn. So if John and I are dancing around, maybe we've decided to camp out this round, we don't want to go for those final kills, it'll say, hey guys, you got to make some movement, and they spawn this middle central objective. Whoever captures it first does take the point and takes the round. The second variation of Wingman is Strikeout. Each team has 6 life tickets with rounds lasting 2 minutes in a best-of-5 series. Pretty much Strikeout, but smaller teams and maps overall. So if you guys have played Rogue Company, very similar to the main game mode, or one of the main game modes outside of Demolition in there. Again, very similar, just you're ending up on a smaller map so that you're not running over all over the place for like a year and a half. And on top of that, it is that 2v2 format. Last but not least is Countdown. This one, John, to me is very similar to Oddball, if you ever played that in Halo. It's pretty much a game where you're holding on control of a bomb. You're not planting the bomb, you're just holding it, very similar to like Oddball with the skull being held in Halo. It does take the spot of that gun as well. So you can't go around shooting people while holding control of this object. You can melee with the object, but you lose a lot of the power that you would have overall. Countdown will be a best-of-5 round game mode with each team starting out with 90 tickets. Again, sounds like a ton for Rogue Company fans, but the caveat being every second that a team maintains control of that bomb and is holding on to it, the other team will lose a ticket, so those will get drained pretty quickly. Again, respawns will be similar. You can continue spawning and you use 1 ticket per respawn, and the shop will be available at the beginning of each of those rounds. Again, best of 5. I'm really excited for these game modes, John. Wingman will be dropping next week. I don't know when Countdown will drop, but overall, I think there is some potential with all of these. You're frozen on my screen. Am I frozen on yours?
No, you're not. But Discord, I'll be honest, Joe. I wasn't quite sure if the show was going to happen tonight with all of the issues Twitch was having today in the past several days.
Oh yeah.
But really, it's Discord, the gift that keeps on giving. It's very impressive when you slow down and then you speed up to 80 miles an hour and then on a dime slow back down. Discord, the gift that keeps on giving. No, everything came through just great. Everyone in chat on Twitch heard you. And for those listening on the podcast version, guess what? You get the clean, unedited, well, not unedited, but just the clean version without Discord screwing up the audio track, because we record that separately. So there you go. You get that, but you don't get the funness of funness. Is that a word? The funness of Discord live on Twitch while we do the show. I like all these changes. I think bringing new game modes, different kind of styles. It's probably doing it to me now too, based upon Joey's reaction. But I like it. Not everyone is going to be into like a 5v5, a 4v4, or a 6v6. Sometimes you want to do solos or duos, or you want to have something different that isn't just going around and getting the most kills or going around and winning each round. You want something different to keep the game fresh. Very few games can really survive on one game mode. Yes, we see it. We're currently seeing it with like a League of Legends. But even then, you have your ARAM map. You had your 3v3 map that they got rid of, but then they also launched TFT. So they're still trying to reinvent different ways to engage more players and bring more people into the game, but still the overall game mode is Summoner's Rift 5v5 on the Rift there. So I like it when we see these studios add new game modes that is going to attract different players that want a different kind of a challenge, or maybe they want to spice something up a little differently here and there. I like it. When they get added, I will definitely be checking it out. I think are they already added, Joey? I haven't updated Rogue Company in a hot minute.
No, so Wingman is dropping next week. And then did you ever play Oddball with Halo?
I did, yes.
I freaking loved Oddball. So I don't know when Countdown's dropping, but I am super stoked for that. Again, like John was saying, so having different playlists, having different game modes helps keep things fresh. Currently, Rogue Company has 3 normal modes: Demolition, Strikeout, and I don't remember the last one, Escalation or something. And then they do have Ranked Demolition as well as the Ranked playlist. So 4 playlists overall, 3 different game modes. Again, I think adding more variety is good, but I also don't want to see a game that's still growing. They have about 12 to 50 million players right now. I don't think they want to split their playlist up too much just yet. So I'm glad they're being at least somewhat receptive to what people are playing the most and changing game modes up based on that. And I hope they don't overcrowd the playlist too much too quickly. With that being said, guys, we're going to jump into a little bit more about Rogue Company, but Hi-Rez in general. They did have a showcase today talking about Paladins, Rogue Company, and Smite. We're not going to dive too deep into these, but since we were already talking about Rogue Company, we'll kick off with that one. Rogue Company, again, launched last year. It ended up into open beta, and I believe it was October that it officially launched. Since then, they've added 15 million players. So over the course of a couple months, adding that big amount of players is quite good. Again, it's not the biggest game out there, but it is growing quite steadily. And they are continuing to add more and more content pretty regularly as well. Since October, I think they've added in 2 maps. They've added in 2 rogues. I think they've added in a new game mode. Yeah, because ranked mode came out as well with the beta. So they've added a bunch of different things in. They're continuing to put new content into the game, and I think that's a big plus. What did they tease, though? They teased that launch of Wingman coming next week. They also teased a new agent, Kestrel, coming out in February. They also told us a little bit about what their season is going to look like. Every year, they're going to run 4 seasons, so pretty much a quarterly season, with the first one kicking off on February 1st. Each season will have its own battle pass. John, have we heard the term battle pass before? I feel like every single game out there that's live service has a battle pass. Rogue Company will be no different. They'll have a free tier and a premium tier to that as well. So new Rogue coming out February 1st. You got your battle pass dropping February 1st. You have ranked mode leaving beta and entering its full access. The beta was very similar to what you would see in like a Halo 3/Halo Reach. They are making some adjustments, keeping that same general structure, but instead of numbered levels like 1 through 4, and then 5 through 8, you're going to end up with a little bit more variation similar to League of Legends, where each tier will be broken down by divisions. So bronze, silver, gold, et cetera, with 5 divisions under each of those. I personally like that change. It works well for League of Legends. It's very relatable to a lot of gamers, that similar system. I think it's good for Rogue to adopt that one. We do have a new map coming to it. It'll probably be closer to the March timeframe. Hollows is going to be the name of that, as well as a number of other pieces of new content. So I'm overall pretty stoked for this. I think Rogue Company had a good launch and had a good 2020. As it continues to look forward, I'm glad they're investigating new game modes. They're continuing to make plans for new rogues. There's going to be 7 coming out in 2021. So again, we talked about it a little bit last week. You can't go overboard on characters. Something like a League of Legends, it makes it very steep for new players to come into with 150 champions to learn. Rogue Company is not quite at that level yet. I think they have like 10 to 12 or something now. So you are looking at about 20 at the end of the year. With that being said, it's still a manageable number, and it does do a good job of keeping content fresh as well. So with Rogue Company in general, I'm super excited given all the stuff they've shown us and what is to come in 2021 and starting February 1st.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out Rogue Company yet, not only are you behind the curve, but no, seriously, check it out. It really is a really good game. It's, when in a market of team shooters that feels a little, I'm not going to say oversaturated, because I'm going to save that for Battle Royale. But, for a market where it feels like there's a new shooter coming out at least every quarter, it does a really good job. It's a very fun game. Joey, you and I have played it with a lot of members of OTN. It's a very fun and decent game. Again, still in beta, it's still in development, but they're developing quite well. They're being very transparent and open with what they're doing. I think their partnership with Dr. Disrespect was a huge success. It brought a lot of attention to the game, and a lot of money also. So I think that's always a good thing if you're a studio developing a game. Rogue Company is having a very successful launch. I think they should be very happy with how that game has progressed over time. And it has the possibility of being their main game in their portfolio overall. If it's not already, consider that.
I think the big thing for me is that they pull from so many different games. Like if you like Fortnite, you're going to find some relatability in this game. If you like Gears of War, there's some relatability with the third person in the rolling. I couldn't think of that for some reason. Plus the cover aspects to it. I think you look at some of the other stuff like Valorant and CSGO. You have Demolition, which is a game mode very similar to those two, but it doesn't take 45 minutes to an hour to play out. Much, much shorter. I think when you look at game modes, Countdown, the one they're testing here, very similar to Halo. You looked at their ranked mode. It's kind of like a combination of Halo and League of Legends. They're almost pulling some of the best qualities of all these big games out there, from first-person shooters to third-person shooters to MOBAs and beyond, and they're meshing them all together. What do you like about League of Legends? What do you like about CSGO? Well, what if we put all these things together and make a game out of them? And that to me is kind of what Rogue Company has become. The biggest thing missing for me right now is lore. I really want to see more about the lore. Why are these characters here? Why are they fighting? When they release these different maps, we get a tad bit of an idea. Like Jackal is the bad faction or whatever in here trying to take over. All of these rogues are good guys, and this is how they end up training or whatever. You're kind of doing training missions similar to like the Halo aspect. So I'm curious to see overall when they add the biographies in, when they add more story. There's rumor of a possible PvE mode coming out in about March as well. So I'm curious, once they start adding that lore in, does it add more depth to the game? And does that end up bringing in any more players as well? So guys, if you haven't already checked Rogue Company out, again, it is cross-play. The progress is cross-play as well. So if you have it on PC or Xbox or PlayStation or Switch, you can carry your progress over and have the same rogues available on every one of those platforms. So definitely worth checking out. The other two games that Hi-Rez showcased in their showcase, ironic, Paladins and Smite. Talking about Paladins a little bit, 2021 Season 4 will be named Calamity, and it will see more champions, more frequent updates, alongside limited time events, event passes, similar to a battle pass, and more. The first champion of the year was announced as well. I'm going to try to pronounce this, John. I believe it's Yagarath or Yagaroth. Teased for years in Paladins lore. It's been around. It's one of those characters similar to what you see in World of Warcraft, where there's a lot of people within that depth of the lore. Paladins, again, not quite that level of depth, but they do have quite a bit of lore out there. This is pulling one of those characters that's kind of been famous into that lore and bringing them to the forefront as a playable character. On top of that, the threat from beyond the realm is bent on subsuming all life and existence in this new patch of Calamity. I know you're a huge Paladins player over there, John. Are you
Massive, huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't play a ton of Paladins either, but I do think it's one of those games that is somewhat intriguing here and there. It kind of came out around the same time as Overwatch, and Overwatch being a Blizzard game had a massive launch. It also has the Overwatch League behind it. So I think Paladins got a little bit of that short end of the straw between those two games of similar styles. With that being said, I think I read somewhere that it has like 45 million players still playing it. So it is quite popular still to this day.
Yeah, totally. You know, threat from beyond the realm, subsuming all life and existence. Sounds like a Shadowlands ripoff a little bit. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I was going to make a World of Warcraft joke, regardless. Yeah, I mean, I should probably give Paladins a little more credit. But it's just a game that hasn't really done it for me. Like, I've maybe played it once or twice a couple of years ago, but yeah, I think, Joey, you hit the biggest issue on the head. Is it competed with a major Blizzard title, not just any Blizzard title, but one of Blizzard's first original IPs in over a decade. There was massive hype around Overwatch, and Paladins, which should have received a lot more attention, kind of played second fiddle to a massive Blizzard launch. But yeah, I'm glad to see Paladins still going. If it is around 45 million players, that's still a massive amount of players. So they're doing well. Obviously, they're still creating content for it. So, you know, can't be too bad there. But yeah, the lore storyline they're releasing for Paladins sounds very interesting. As someone who's a fan of bringing the void and the afterlife and to like just being a little different in games, not being afraid to explore the dark sides that aren't zombies and vampires. Thank you very much. In video games, I think is really smart. And I think more studios should do that as well. But yeah, I'll probably check it out. I'm kind of curious as to see how the lore is developed.
And then last but not least, for the Hi-Rez showcase that happened today, this afternoon, we did have Smite, their biggest title to date. Smite being a huge MOBA out there. It's not League of Legends, it's not Dota 2, but it is one of those next level MOBAs, and it does bring some unique aspects to it. Smite will see the dawn of Season 8, which is properly named the Dawn of Babylon. I should probably read before I speak. They'll feature the addition of an all-new evolving Babylonian Pantheon conquest map. For those of you who play Smite, this is the first new conquest map in 3 years. Kind of a big deal for those players. New gods, including Tiamat and Gilgamesh, will be joining, as well as new battle passes, new collaborations, plenty more esports action throughout the year, as being Hi-Rez's biggest esports scene as well. So with your biggest game out there, you're going to continue to pour more into it. We saw a ton of releases of new gods last year with Smite, kicking things off here in 2021, announcing some of those releases as well. A big map coming out again, first one in 3 years, 2 new gods being announced, new battle passes, and more. So the Smite content will continue to flow too.
Yeah, it's almost like they had to pull people off of Smite to help develop Rogue Company or something. It's great. For the first new Conquest map in 3 years, maybe a little too long, but it's still, like you said, Joey, their highest game in their portfolio at the moment, their most popular game, I should say. So obviously they're doing something right. I know a lot of players in the Smite community are very happy with the new map and the announcement of the new gods that are going to be able to be played. You got to keep adding content. We gave Rogue Company a lot of credit for exploring new modes. Smite gets a lot of credit too for trying to keep their game current and relevant by adding new gods and a new conquest map. That's definitely the way to get your base excited, to get your community excited, and draw more people into your game, because they may look at this and say, "Oh, Gilgamesh, I know that name. I'm going to check out to see how this god plays in Smite, or even how Smite plays in general." It's interesting. It's an interesting tactic. We'll see if Smite continues to grow with it. I think they should.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this Hi-Rez Showcase, to hit just a couple more things and then wrap up today's episode, Jon, I have a little bit of trivia for you.
Oh boy.
When do you think Rogue Company began being developed? When did it enter its development phase?
Oh, it's gonna be something ridiculous. Like, it's either gonna be like 10 plus years ago, or it's gonna be something like 3 weeks before it came out. I really don't. I really don't think there's anything in between. I'm gonna say like 5 years ago.
Okay, it actually started development in mid 2018 and then came into beta phase in mid 2020, which I'm honestly super impressed by. Like, again, it doesn't have a campaign yet. It doesn't really have any PvE aspects. It's purely multiplayer based, but that game looks very clean and plays very cleanly mechanically for a game that was only in development for about 2 years. So that I was super surprised by that. I would have guessed much closer to 5 years as well, personally. Okay, that does it for the Hi-Rez Showcase, guys. If you want to check those highlights, there is videos all over the place. It was played on the Twitch channels of Paladins as well as Smite, and then on the YouTube channel for Rogue Company, if you want to go ahead and play those back and watch over it. They try to play it a little bit like Devolver Digital, if you've ever seen one of their conferences, where it's kind of that goofy humor. It was definitely goofy. It had its humorous moments. It was a little cringeworthy at times, but overall, I think the updates came through pretty well, and I think Hi-Rez is doing some good things for these 3 games. Upcoming, just a reminder for all of those Riot Games players out there, whether it be League of Legends, Legends of Runeterra, or TFT, tomorrow is your day to tune in. Riot Games is running an opening day stream for season 2021 for those 3 games. Friday, January 8th at 10 a.m. Eastern time is when that one is going live. I'm sure it'll be on all the Riot Game channels and all of those particular games channels as well. It's confirmed to feature League of Legends and Legends of Runeterra. I've seen TFT in the teasers as well, so I think you could probably look out for that one. Again, we dove into this a little bit, Jon. My predictions are League of Legends is probably going to filter more into I'm going to say like a Shadowlands and Bilgewater style for this year. I think those are the 2 regions they're going to dive into the most. And I do think the Ruined King will be a champion this year. Personally, I think he's going to be the first champion to kick things off. And I think you will see 6 champions released for League of Legends this year. On the Legends of Runeterra side, I'm having a good feeling about them diving into Shurima. I think that's going to be the next area or region for that game in particular to dive more into and build the lore upon. So I'm excited for this. I don't play a ton of Legends of Runeterra. I'm not the greatest League of Legends player, but I do enjoy the games quite a bit. I enjoy their esports scenes as well. So I'm excited to see what Riot is bringing here in 2021.
Yeah, I'm gonna need them to hurry up and develop Ionia a little bit more. I like me some
Ionia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this year's going to be Ionia. I could be wrong. It could end up being a big Ionia year, but who knows? Last but not least, Riot Games, just to tease it because we won't have another show before it, they will be hosting a Valorant live stream as well for those of you tactical shooter players out there. That one is going to happen this month as well, 11th of January at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You guys can tune in on the Valorant channel on Twitch for that one as devs break down what to expect in episode 2, episode 1, running that June to January timeframe. Now diving into episode 2 and what that is going to look like. I'm excited for this. Again, I haven't played a ton of Valorant, but I am curious to see what that transition of episode to episode is going to end up looking like here. That does it, sir. I think that does it for today. We've dove into a lot of gaming news. Again, esports stuff will be starting up here pretty soon in the next couple weeks. So we will go a little bit more esports heavy as we eventually get those scenes kicking off. But for now, it's been very game heavy between the Game Awards, our thoughts on 2021 games, and now all of these showcases coming out here early on in January. I will be tuning into League of Legends tomorrow. So if you want to talk about that, hit us up on Discord. That's Discord. What is our custom one? Discord.me/OTN. I don't remember the .gg one, but Discord.me/OTN will get the job done for you, and we'll put that in chat as well. Come hang out, come talk about it. Again, League of Legends, Legends of Runeterra, huge games. John and I are excited to grind until we stop grinding like we always do every single season. I feel like our expectations go in so high, and Clue tries to push us, and then Clue gets up to his Masters Diamonds rank, and we're just down here in our little silver bronze rank saying, hey, how are we doing? Should we keep grinding? Should we not? What?
Speak for yourself. I am a certified grandmaster of the plastic forest, sir. Grandmaster of the plastic division. That's what I'm going to go with. Makes it sound like
I have high expectations for us this year, John. We're both going to hit, I'm going to say, at least low gold this year. We're going to get the job done. See him smiling? We're going to make a goals chart on our Reddit page as well. By the way, we have a Reddit, guys. I don't know if we've ever talked about the podcast. That is going to be /OTN if you guys want to check that one out. Gaming news, esports news, come talk about anything. Feel free to post whatever over there. We'll be playing with that one heading into 2021 as well. But guys, I think that's enough for today. We've dove into this gaming news. We're excited for tomorrow's press conference with Riot Games and that live stream and what content they're going to bring. But I think that'll do it for today's episode of Level Up.
All right, Nation, that will do it for this edition of LvLUp Live. But before you go, head over to patreon.com/OTN and consider becoming a part of the Overtime Network. Fun fact, there's some really cool stuff brewing up that's going to be offered to our amazing Patreon supporters. What? What are you giggling about?
You can't say brewing up and sound like you're drunk because of Discord. It just sounds funny and it's ironic.
Discord, get it together. But yes, new cool stuff going to be coming to our Patreon, so definitely keep an eye out for that. We are working on it as we speak. Actually, after the show, I'm going to be working on it some more. But in return of supporting us on Patreon, not only do you get access to really cool merch, but you'll be getting access to really cool content as well that nobody else in the world can get unless they are part of OTN Media. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you follow the show on Twitch to catch the next episode of LvLUp Live. If you listen to the show on our podcast feed, leave us a review. LvLUp Podcast is available on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. We would love to hear from you. In fact, we love to hear from our community so much there's other ways for you to reach out to us. Joey, what are those ways?
Absolutely, guys. LvLUp Nation, head on over to Twitter and find us at LvLUp Live. That is LvLUp Live. In addition to that, you can follow the umbrella company OTN Media on Twitter and Facebook as well at OTN Media, and on Instagram at OTN_media. Last but not least, hit us up with a follow, a like, maybe even a Twitch Prime sub over here on Twitch, twitch.tv/OTN Media. Streams throughout the week. Level Up on Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Come join the party.
All right, make sure you tune in this upcoming Monday, January 11th, if my math is correct, as we cover the latest and greatest in gaming and esports news. Do your ears and eyes a favor, hit that sub and follow button here on Twitch to know when the next episode of LvLUp Live is ready for your viewing pleasures. We'll catch you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Remember, be nice to your fellow gamers online. They're people as well. And Joey, as always,
level
up. That's going to be a great edit.